This is Zangiefsgym here. I'm Timothy, and this video is how to fight Menat with Zangief. This is 0.3 plus the quick version of standing light punch with and without the crystal ball. Okay, so we want to get right into this because this is a quick version, so I'm just going to go right through the bullet points and we'll go from there. Okay, so Menat standing light punch. Okay, so Zangief's takeaways. Okay, so this is what we're going to be talking about pretty much the whole time. Zangief's takeaways for fighting Menat when she's doing the standing light punch. So first I'm going to cover with the crystal ball and go on to talk about without the crystal ball. So with the crystal ball, the first bullet point is the standing hard punch and the standing hard kick are good counter hits, but use caution with the hard kick. Okay, so standing hard punch, standing hard kick. Those are the best options for Zangief when she has the crystal ball. So use caution with the hard kick. You can see, I can do it here for you a couple times, but you can kind of see the difficulty in doing that. It's not that hard, but if you're not careful, you're gonna get caught with that ball. Okay, whereas the standing hard punch is much more. Oops. We'll let her actually recover. The standing hard punch is far less risky. It's the safest option. Okay. Next bullet point. You can crush counter Menat's light punch with both the hard punch and the hard kick, that standing normals. Like I just mentioned, the two standing normals, standing hard punch and hard kick. You can crush counter her. Well, crush counter gives you the advantage because it gives her a lot of negative frames. It causes her to have a lot of recovery time. So you want to do the crush counter as much as you can, and you can do that with both of the hard buttons, the hard punch and hard kick. Crush counter, third bullet point, crush counter with the standing hard punch is the best option because you can dash in and SPD her. So I'll do that real quickly for you as well. And actually you can do the hard punch there. All three of the SPDs are possible. Okay, so that's the third bullet point. Next bullet point, Siberian Express EX is a great counter to her standing light punch. Okay, let's go ahead and perform that. Yeah, absolutely, right? We can absorb a hit, so we know that that's going to work, because even if we do get hit, not a problem, which you probably will because she has a very quick startup on the light punch. So that's a good option. Next bullet point, a jump-in combo is a possibility, but use caution in a real match because they could anti-air you. They're not going to be doing this one move constantly. They could use this one move a lot, but because a real opponent can react to the situation, they could anti-air you. But the bottom line is her standing light punch cannot anti-air you. Okay, so let's see this. Yeah, she can't hit us with that, assuming we're actually attacking. Of course, we could just jump right and not do anything. Of course, we're gonna get hit. And that's another point I'll make later, is that her standing light punch is a great space controller, which we have to be aware of. But there are ways around it. Okay, so yes, we can jump attack. Okay, so we've seen that that's definitely a possibility. Just be aware that she can anti-air you. Should it be a human opponent, they're gonna look for that, look for you to jump. So just be aware of that. All right, so that's some of the basics. I'll go ahead now and we'll switch to the standing light punch without the crystal ball. Like I said, this is gonna be quick, so I'm not gonna. Okay, number 5. I gotta turn number 5 on so she'll ditch the ball. Boop. All right, there it goes. It's gone. Now we can go back to, yeah. Before I turn her on, though, real quick, the first point I have to say is, as far as without the crystal ball goes, everything that was true of her Menat standing light punch with the crystal ball, everything that I just said that you could do as a counter. The Zangief's takeaways here, everything I've been talking about so far in this video, it also holds true when she doesn't have the crystal ball. In fact, even though she has a quicker startup, we had the advantage because she has a shorter range. I'll get to that though in a minute. Okay, so that was the first bullet point without the crystal ball, is everything that was with the crystal ball holds true. Okay, next, all standing normals will work as a counter. Use caution with the light attacks, the standing light attacks. Okay, so all of our standing normals will work. We can see that. But use caution with the lights because they generally, they don't have as much range. But the mediums have, whoops, not the knee hammer, but the mediums have good range. You gotta be a little careful too with that medium kick, but that's okay. I think I was just in the wrong position. Just be careful with anything that's not a hard punch. I didn't have this written down, but anything that's not a hard punch, be a little cautious over because you can get hit. Okay, but they can work. Just get the spacing right. Just practice the spacing. By spacing, I mean the physical position you're standing in when you do these attacks versus the physical position she's standing in. So be aware of distance. But the standing strongs are, of course, that's going to be no problem at all. All right, so that's next thing. On to the next thing. All crouching normals will also work except for the crouching hard punch, and that's because it's an anti-air. If you're not aware of that, Zangief's crouching hard punch is actually an anti-air, a slow one, but it is an anti-air nonetheless. So all other crouching normals will work. Also, make note, use caution with the crouching light kick and the crouching medium punch. So you again, this will all be in the show notes, guys, so you can take these away. Okay, so what did I say again? Okay, all normals except for the hard punch. Yeah, so you can see that. Okay, crouching light punch, crouching light kick. Gotta be a little bit closer. That's why I said use caution with that one, just because you have to be so close to get it to work. It's really not the best option. I would use that in a different position, in a different placing. I wouldn't use that in this case. I would say the light, the crouching light punch and crouching medium. Again, use a little caution with that one. Not quite as much range because he does a hook punch, not straight out. You could get hit. Yeah, medium kick, no problem. Pretty spacious, pretty good range on it. Crouching hard kick, crouching hard punch is the one you cannot do. See how it's an anti-air? Yeah, so you don't want to use that one. Okay, so all the crouching normals would be just fine. Now I'm going to go on to the details about this move. Menat's standing light punch is a space controller, both with and without her crystal ball. You can't get around this move without a knockdown or an EX, or without doing like a jump attack, right? But even then, you're not, basically without a knockdown, you can't get around this move, which is the same thing. If you jump kick her and do a combo, you are doing a knockdown. You're just doing a combo into a knockdown. But a direct knockdown, in this case, what I would be referring to when I said you can't get around it without a knockdown. What I mean by that is like a knockdown as in like a whiff punish, which would be like a sweep kick, something that will stop her from being able to do anything anymore. She can't do the punch button when you sweep kick her and knock her on the ground. So you need to do some kind of a knockdown in order to stop her from doing this attack. Or you can do an EX. EX, we talked about EX side variant express. That's one way. Or you can do an actual sweep kick, which will completely knock her down, so she can't do her punch anymore. But this light punch for her is a space controller. So that means it prevents you from getting by her, so she can defend. She can preserve the rest of the space that she has left before she hits the wall. Okay, you can't get by her. And I'll just try to show you that. See how every time I try to jump past her, it just chokes me out. I can't do it. I can't walk. She'll hit me back. So she's got this space. This is her turf, and she's gonna keep me out of here. So this is what that's what a space controller is. It's something that keeps you from being able to make any progress. Okay, throw the ball out again. All right, now. Okay, so let's go on to my next point. Okay, we talked about that. It's the space controller. Next, the frame data. Okay, so the frame data for her standing light punch with the crystal ball is a startup of 5, and she has the advantage on hit, or I should say her advantage on hit is +5 frames, and her advantage on block is +3 frames. So in other words, this move is going to be positive in her favor, whether you block it or not. So just be aware of that. Now that's with the crystal ball. The without crystal ball numbers are very similar. Her startup is 4, and her advantage on block is 3, and her advantage on hit is 4. I'll have these numbers in the description box. Okay. So with the crystal ball, considering her frame data for the crystal ball, startup of 5, advantage on block is 3, advantage on hit is 5. This move is considered very safe, and it's not very punishable, or it's not as punishable as other moves would be. Okay, it can be countered, but it's not as punishable. So it can be countered with what? With a whiff punish, which is basically a knockdown, which would be a sweep kick, would be a great counter. You could counter her with that, or punish her with that, because she's busy punching and using that space controller. We can come in and we could sweep kick her, or we could do the air route, which is a jump tack into a combo. Just be wary of the anti-air though. Okay, so my point there is it's not very easy to punish the crystal ball version of this attack. It's not, you know, you're gonna have to work outside of her range if you want to do that. Without the crystal ball, similar, except that it's a little bit easier to punish her. She's a little bit more punishable because her range is gimped. Okay, we can see that when she actually does the attack. Without the crystal ball, it's very short range, and you know, I've already shown you with the crystal ball, so you guys have seen that the range is much further with the crystal ball. That's why you have to be a little more cautious when she has it in her hand. Okay, next point. Standing hard punch crush counter is a better damage choice with the SPD follow-up versus, or as opposed to, the standing hard kick. Plus you get the upper body armor. Right. So, you know, that's a better option. In fact, I'll just go ahead and give the last point, because okay, so did you get that one? The standing hard punch is a better counter than the standing hard kick. Okay? It's a better counter. Next point is, if you're in the corner, you can crush counter with the standing hard kick and then follow up with a knee hammer into an SPD. It still has less damage than doing the standing hard punch into an SPD. Okay, so you have two pathways you can take. You can take the standing hard punch pathway and dash in SPD. Okay, that's one option. You can do that anytime you want to, as long as you get the crush counter. Let me be clear. You have to get the crush counter in order for that to work. The second option is to be all the way in a corner with her. I'll make this a little quicker, dash in. Be in the corner with her, have her do the attack, and then crush counter her with the standing strong kick. That will cause her to twirl in the air. At that point, you can catch her with the knee hammer and then an SPD. You just gotta delay the SPD a little bit if you're gonna land it. However, looking at these two options, as far as the crush counter with either the standing hard punch or standing hard kick, the data shows that the standing hard punch is the better option, and it's also the easier and a little bit safer option. Why? Because the crush counter in the corner with the standing hard kick is a little bit harder to pull off, because you can follow up with the knee hammer because you're close enough, and she's in the wall and she can't move, so you're close enough to do it. But the tricky part is you have to delay the SPD or you will miss it, and if you miss it, she can hit you. So that's something to be aware of. The standing hard punch, you can do any part of the screen you want to, and it will actually do more damage, because the standing hard kick into the knee hammer, it actually gimps the knee hammer's damage. If you hit with the knee hammer, normally, I've got her blocking everything, but anyway, I've done the input, and basically the standing hard punch is the better option. Okay, so that's a final takeaway. I'm not going to go any longer because I said I'd keep this quick. So that's it for this one, guys. Check out the description underneath this video so you can get these bullet points and you can get these facts and take them into practice against Menat in training mode. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.